Hello and welcome to Rise of Mordor. I'm Maeron, lead concept artist and your host today. I hope you have your spears ready to be shaken and your shields ready to be splintered as we saddle up for the Rohan campaign faction overview. As always, we will be looking at starting positions, general gameplay, script ideas, faction and race bonuses, building chains and tech trees. Now everything you see here is official Rise of Mordor material, but does all remain subject to change. The Kingdom of Rohan spans on a territory of 4 full provinces, all firmly under the Rohirrim's control. The River Snowborn cuts Rohan's core territory in two, with the West Emnet harbouring Rohan's capital of Edoras, and the Eastfold bordering Gondor. Further to the west lies the Westfold, controlled from the stronghold at Helm's Deep. Beyond lies the Gap of Rohan, a contested province in which Rohan holds one territory south of the River Isen, with Dunland and Isengard holding the remainder of that land. East lies Rohan's final province, the vast plains of the East Emnet, the kingdom's least populated territory. Rohan's territory is generally secure. Most of its core territories around the cities of Edoras and Aldburg are shielded by mountains. Various rivers help create strategic defensive lines within the kingdom as well. The central ranges of the Riddermark are the most well-developed, populated and strategically important domains. Various infrastructure already exists there to facilitate animal husbandry, rudimentary trade and military rallying. Further away, Rohan's territories are expansive, yet sparsely populated. The lands to the northeast are hilly and less fertile, meaning sustenance there heavily relies on animal husbandry, with limited opportunities for trade. To the west, economic activity is better, but exposure to hostilities is great, and, as Theoden likes to bang on about,
where was Gondor when the Westfold fell?
The Westfold is vulnerable to invasions from across the River Isen. Moving to general gameplay, Rohan's territory is large but not rich. Agriculture remains the main source of income, supplemented by industries supporting horsemanship and farming. The administration of the kingdom is essentially feudal, with the king calling the banners of his Eored from across the kingdom in times of war. Each province therefore recruits a unique Eored cavalry unit, but Rohan has no standing army. This means the player must immediately turn to securing military infrastructure, so that regions can look after themselves. For danger comes at Rohan from all sides. West stir the Dunlandings, already securing the Gap of Rohan for themselves, and recent events have come to question the loyalty of the White Wizard as an ally. East arises the threat of Mordor, whose invasion of Gondor, Rohan's ally, is expected shortly, and would swiftly expose Rohan's entire eastern border. To prepare for oncoming war, the player must ensure each region has stable food supplies and protected borders. To that end, the player's endeavours are supported by various bonuses Rohan receives. As a Northman faction, Rohan is destined to survive onto the era of the dominion of men, if they endure the tide of evil. Where other races retreat from the face of Middle-earth, the Northmen stand their ground against the Shadow, taking up arms in resistance and fighting for their survival, as they have nowhere to retreat to. As such, all Northmen enjoy a 15% less upkeep costs, extra morale when defending, and 1 extra recruitment slot in all provinces. That recruitment slot will be particularly crucial, as capacity to recruit units is significantly scarcer in Rise of Mordor. To strengthen a basic economy, the Northmen benefit from a 20% extra income from all agriculture. Rohan's heritage is one of migrations and of military feats. Descending from the men of Ravanion, that migrated to the Anduin Vale, and who then migrated again under King Eol to what is now Rohan, their military has always revolved around mobility and horsemanship. There are no finer horsemen in Middle-earth than the Rohirrim, and few are braver on the attack than them. As such, they enjoy a considerable bonus on the charge for all units, and recruit all cavalry with a starting experience of 3. Since the Rohirrim's lifestyle has always evolved around life in the saddle, most of the Rohirrim hold their own horses, and do so like none other. As such, their cavalry upkeep costs are 40% lower, and income from all animal husbandry is 20% higher. Moving to buildings, Rohan is a feudal kingdom, with its people living on wide plains and regions, essentially surviving on their own. This means that Rohan's recruitment is decentralised, meaning that stronger units can be available as garrisons, but often cannot be recruited without the appropriate buildings. From the main settlement tier come Rohan's militia units, but if the player wishes to access stronger infantry, they must construct a dedicated guardhouse building, strengthening the local military of a settlement at a monetary price. Rohan's main military, however, must be mustered from across the kingdom's holdings. Cavalry can be rallied from a dedicated Eored gathering building chain, perhaps Rohan's most important infrastructure, providing the recruitment of strong cavalry, recruitment capacity and militancy, which uplifts a population's willingness to wage war. Economically, Rohan has access to some infrastructure to support trade, but a wiser approach to generate income is to capitalise on Rohan's income bonuses to animal husbandry. To do so, a dedicated horse breeder building exists. Plus, the player has access to a special industrial chain focused around producing equipment for horses, reducing cavalry recruitment costs, and again catalysing income from holding animals. Culture provides a final source of income for the Rohan player through the festivity hall chain available in cities. All these would allow the player to make enough income to sustain a large force of cavalry if the tide of war turns ill. Moving on to tech trees. In terms of military development, the player can opt for several routes through the tech tree. Taking the top one, the player will unlock stronger cavalry units through cavalry maintenance, all the way towards Eored rallying codes. On his way, the player will unlock units often before he unlocks the buildings to recruit them. This means that those units will become available to the player as a garrison in the regions that those units originate from, but will not be able to be recruited in armies until it gets an additional military development and infrastructure. Through the centre of the tech tree, various critical bonuses become available to the player to strengthen his military, such as cheaper recruitment, blacksmith buildings, and lower upkeep costs. In these sections of the tree, he will also find stronger infantry units, such as at communal militias and standardised remuneration. Finally, the bottom of the tree will be crucial for launching military campaigns, unlocking buildings that replenish units, since Rise of Mordor does not grant automatic replenishment. Extra movement range and recruitment capacity further enrich the player's options through the bottom of the tech tree. The Civic tech tree offers the player 4 main routes for development. The route at the top of the tech tree strengthens the faction's commercial capacities. For example, internal contact systems unlocks traveller lodges, supply networks unlocks the trader buildings, and local commerce unlocks the market. Secondly, the player may choose a path of income through culture and stronger rule, starting with administration and going through feudal governments, ancestral honouring towards cultural development. The third option lies in opening with hereditary tradesmanship and rudimentary supply chains. These are crucial developments as they unlock buildings of craftsmanship like weavers and ceramists, but also allow the player to establish industrial buildings that are a prerequisite to upgrading his settlements to higher levels and stronger defences. Finally, the player can opt for the bottom route, starting with crop rotation towards professionalised food storage. These unlock agricultural buildings, crucial for maintaining sufficient food supplies, but also allow the player to generate some early income, although agriculture will never be able to generate great riches. In conclusion, Rohan's position may seem one of strength, but it is surrounded with potential enemies and lacks development and infrastructure. Immediate attention is necessary for the development of military facilities to help rally Rohan's powerful cavalry from across the kingdom. Dealing with the kingdom's feudal limitations will not be easy, but there are opportunities as well. Strong local defences, self-reliant regions and strong local economies focused around agriculture and horsemanship. Should the player manage to succeed in preserving the kingdom's safety, late-game developments will allow him to forge a kingdom with strength enough perhaps to challenge some of Middle-earth's most powerful enemies. Will you survive the hordes of Isengard long enough to help out your Dunedain allies? Or will you make your men make such an end that it is worthy of remembrance? As more and more faction overviews come out, and the campaign physically starts to take shape, the hour grows ever nearer to when you will finally be able to join the Rohirrim on the battlefield, to counter the Rise of Mordor and Isengard. If you want to know more about the mod, visit the links in the description, subscribe to the channel, and join our Discord. Farewell, my friends, and may the blessings of elves, dwarves, men, and all free folk go with you.